Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Pilares. Lindsay, can you believe that this is the last episode we're recording before Super Bowl 58?
I can't because it feels like we have been doing Super Bowl coverage for 5 years and then also 2 days at the same time. It's all just been a whirlwind in the best way possible, but it's getting a little nerve-wracking now, I guess. The big day's coming.
Right? The emotions are getting real, and the team held their practice yesterday and their final day of media. And as the anticipation builds, so does the intensity. So the team's second day of practice is typically the most physical since they practice with their pads on. And after that practice, pretty much the entire team, including head coach Kyle Shanahan, said that they're ready to go. So, Lindsay, when you hear how eager this team is to get out there on Sunday, what does that make you think of the mindset of this group?
I think the biggest thing, and it's something the 49ers have said the entire time, is focus on the opportunity at hand. And they're really doing everything they can to zero in and play that game, those 3 hours, to their best possible potential. Obviously, the Super Bowl is such an exciting time, and there's so many cool media appearances and activations going on. But really, for the team, it's about buckling down and making sure that they have the best game plan and best preparation in place for the Kansas City Chiefs because, without that, none of this surrounding stuff really matters. It's about blocking out the noise and, standing on business, as they've said throughout the course of the season.
Absolutely. And as for a quick practice report for the faithful, every member of the 49ers participated in at least a limited capacity in day 2 of the 49ers Super Bowl 58 preparations. Only defensive lineman Eric Armstead, linebacker Oren Burks, tight end George Kittle, and cornerback Ambry Thomas were limited participants in yesterday's practice. But we are expecting for the 49ers to hold a walkthrough practice and announce their final injury report for Super Bowl 58 today. But aside from the Super Bowl, the NFL Honors is one of the biggest days of the year in the league. So, Lindsay, you were there in action to see it all. To start us off, which members of the 49ers came away with some awards?
A huge congratulations to both Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey, and the newest member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Patrick Willis. They both brought home some hardware. Patrick Willis was just beaming, so excited for him. And we actually got to talk to him and just, speak to him about taking in the moment. He's obviously been a finalist for 3 straight years. So I do think that made this moment just a little bit sweeter for him.
And Lindsay, how could you forget about Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey winning the FedEx Award?
Oh my goodness, I did. I think it's because I saw that go up before the NFL honors red carpet. So
Yeah.
I saw that be announced in the morning. But yes, that also was part of last night's event. And they got to take home some, including the hardware, some very cool Kristen Juszczyk puffer jackets, specially designed for the Super Bowl 58 theme. They kind of had also galactic vibes. I don't know. They were really cool. I think everything she does is so custom, and I don't know. It's cool. They had the embroidery that had the FedEx Air Player of the Year for Brock Purdy and then FedEx Ground Player of the Year for Christian McCaffrey. So yes, also shout out to both of them. Very deserving of those awards.
Seriously. And it's been cool to see you be able to cover their FedEx award journey throughout the season as they racked up those awards after it seemed like every single week. But how cool was it to see Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey win their FedEx award in tandem? And how does that speak to their chemistry on the field?
I think that Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey have done an amazing job of creating that relationship both on and off the field. They are the first quarterback and running back duo to ever sweep the awards in the history of the FedEx Air and Ground Player annual awards. And that award is, I think, about 3 decades running at this point. So a pretty historic win for both of them. And, I think we've seen it over the course of the season. They have a great relationship. It shows on the field. It seems like Brock Purdy knows where all of his biggest offensive weapons are going to be at all times, and he can trust them to be there. Christian McCaffrey is certainly included in that list, and, obviously just been the powerhouse he's really like the heartbeat of the offense, I would say. We hear that from players time and time again.
Definitely. And with Christian McCaffrey winning Offensive Player of the Year, we've heard from everyone around Super Bowl week, and they say that Christian McCaffrey is a game changer. So, how deserving is he of the Offensive Player of the Year award?
Oh my goodness. I mean, he was also on a short list for MVP candidate. So if that doesn't speak to just how important he is to this team, I really don't know what does. He finished as the NFL rushing yards leader. He was the scrimmage triple crown winner, 21 touchdowns in the regular season. He has transformed the 49ers ground game, and he's also a hybrid threat because you could use him as a receiver too if you want. He really is just an all-around player for the 49ers from everything we know, a great locker room guy. He's so respected by all of his teammates. And I actually got to talk to his parents on the red carpet, Lisa and Ed McCaffrey. Obviously they're just so proud of what their son has accomplished. I think the thing that stands out to me about Christian's acceptance speech is that he shouted out so many people in the organization, including training staff, front office. But I really loved his call out to his teammates because he said this is the most fun he's ever had playing football. I think it really shows, a career year for him.
Yeah, he started choking up when he was talking about his teammates. It made me want to cry. But also, it was amazing seeing Patrick Willis being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I think when we saw it happen, at least on the screen, you were able to see it in person, which is awesome. But everyone across the sports world probably said, finally. So, what kind of impact did he have on the game of football?
It was interesting being on the red carpet because you just don't really know who's coming down the red carpet. You have to be kind of on your toes. And we actually got a chance to talk to quarterback Joe Flacco, and I loved what he had to say about Patrick Willis because obviously they played each other in Super Bowl 48 and also several times throughout their careers. And he said he was like, "Oh, I was just trying to not get hit by Patrick Willis." Just a tremendous player. I think so many people had to say he just has an infectious personality, a great leader of the defense. And, you just heard that echoed throughout the night. We heard it from Bryant Young, Kendrick Bourne, and these aren't, Kendrick Bourne didn't even play with Patrick Willis, but he's just like has a connection with him through the organization. Everyone was glowing for Patrick Willis, so deserving. Third time's a charm, and it was cool because when the Pro Football Hall of Fame introduced the new class into the press conference, Patrick Willis was the last guy in, and they talked about how many members there are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Only 378, so it was really cool to hear them say, and Hall of Fame class member number 378, Patrick Willis. Just a career moment for him. Just really solidifies his NFL legacy.
Wow. How cool is that? Well, you saw Joe Flacco, Lisa, and Ed McCaffrey. You said Kendrick Bourne, Brian Young. Was there anyone else that you spotted on the red carpet?
So there was no shortage of big names. I thought some of the more random but kind of cool people to see. Where I saw Flava Flav, Taylor Lautner. Oh my goodness, Deion Sanders was there. Kurt Warner. There was a lot of big names there, and from kind of all walks of life. You never knew who you're going to run into in the red carpet, so it was fun to people watch last night.
So from the red carpet to Radio Row, what are the experts and former players saying about Sunday's matchup?
I thought it was cool. Kendrick Bourne said that George Kittle was the X factor in this game, and we all know that George Kittle plays with such high intensity, but he really does turn it up a notch somehow. I don't know how in the playoffs. And you've seen it over the course of like several years, right? But obviously former teammates, they came into the league together in 2017. And he's just so excited for George Kittle. And he's excited to see what happens for this 49ers team. I think there's a lot of people rooting for the 49ers to bring home this 6th world championship, especially obviously former players, alum. It's been a long time coming. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, no one is underselling or, diminishing the dominance that the Kansas City Chiefs have had over the course of the last 5-6 seasons. Certainly a tall task, but this roster is stacked, and that's something that a lot of people called out as well.
Yep, and San Francisco versus Kansas City is just around the corner now. So, Lindsay, what are you hoping to see from this 49ers team on Sunday?
I think just a fast start. We've obviously seen some pretty impressive comebacks for the 49ers, both against the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. But let's get back to what they were doing in the regular season. Obviously, it's the Kansas City Chiefs are a Super Bowl team for a reason, and they're the reigning Super Bowl champs. So it's certainly not going to be easy to get that fast start. But the 49ers were, I believe, the highest scoring opening drive team of the regular season. And I think punching one in early really does set the tone for this team. So let's go with that. They want to get the ball rolling quickly to avoid having to have that really big second half comeback.
Definitely. Well, that will do it for this episode. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in. We'll see you on Sunday.